Nordstrom's.
There are some things in life that you just can't live without. Now, whether it's a special piece of jewelry, a watch, or even your smartphone, you want it in working condition. At Fixology Repair, we are committed to restoring your pieces so that everything works or fits the way it ought to. Watch servicing, chain repair, and broken screen replacements are just a few of the services that we offer at our 2 locations, Mall of America and the Skyway in downtown Minneapolis. Please visit us at Fixologyrepair.com or at FixologyMN on Twitter to learn more. Mention this ad and get a 10% discount on our services.
Ken, did you have a question for us? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought you were lining up for us. You always have a question.
It's the dog.
You're a barrister. You always have a question.
It's the dog days of summer, so is there anything interesting you can tell us?
I think you should interrogate Jim Souhan the way that like Rick Gates was interrogated today, cross-examined. I think
I'll just hand you my wallet. We'll cut to the chase here. We do have some Twitter questions. We'll go that way again. Anybody who wants to ask a question live, feel free. MJ, our friend who also comes to the Cheryl Reeve Show a lot, she meant to make it here today. She said, let's ask Michael where he buys his underwear, because I know Jim buys his underwear at Twill. Let's make Michael really uncomfortable.
Yeah, really. Yeah, let's not.
Okay. Actually, she actually had a serious question. Is the Athletic evolving into what you envisioned it to be?
Oh, my God. We're having a one-year birthday bash, actually, right here on September 7th at 6 p.m., pizza and beer included. And I was sitting at the same Starbucks that I wrote last year's inaugural post, and I was reading it over again. And I was really blown away about a lot of the things that were promised in there and how it's really become what I thought it was what I envisioned. And that was when I was alone on the island and we didn't even have an editor. And now all of a sudden we have 4 other full-time reporters here, and we cover all the professional sports in town, including women's sports. And we're about to have another full-time hire here that we're going to announce here in the next month that we're really excited about. And or at least it's going that way. And we have an army of freelancers that has been absolutely sensational. And I can't believe where the Athletic has gone, not just here in Minnesota. I just remember being so stressed in the month of August. It was August 2nd last year that I had my first conversation with Alex Mather, and I never envisioned that we were going to be in all the markets that we are in. It's just crazy. And we're about to have full-time hockey writers in every market. There's definitely no better place to read national hockey coverage, both Canada and the U.S. and the Athletic. So thanks for the commercial, MJ.
From iTodd, our friend who usually comes to the shows, he was trying to make it here tonight, didn't make it, so he sent one from his car. Here's a question I was going to ask you. Are there other leagues like the Beauty League around in NHL cities? It's completely unique to here.
No, I mean, even NHL Network, Alex Tenga was here on Monday. I went to that, and it was a really awesome show. And again, I mean, they're talking to guys like Jake Gardner and Alex Goligoski and Anders Lee. I mean, there's no U.S. city on the planet in one city that has the amount of professional hockey players that this place has. So this was a brilliant idea by Ben Hankinson and his staff at Octagon, and what they've turned this into in the last 3 years that it's been going on is absolutely spectacular. On a Monday night, the other night, it's just absolutely jam-packed. They stream every game now. Social media started by his team, started by Aaron, and his team there has been absolutely amazing. And it's every time I go, I just can't believe it. And the players genuinely love it. Like, I hung out in the kind of innards of the arena the other day and listening to when guys like Letty and these guys showed up, and them, the banter back and forth, they absolutely get into it. They're talking about the rosters of each team, and it's been really cool.
Brian, you're not going to ask Michael Russo a question? I mean, don't be intimidated.
Yeah, Brian.
Come on.
Brian went to... It's the quietest I've ever heard Brian. So Brian was on our Italy trip with everybody over at that table, and Clyde and Vicky. And so Brian was absolutely, and his lovely wife Karen was the perfect complement to Andy and Claudine, as everybody knows by now. And it was just a really fun trip. Brian had me howling. What's amazing about Brian and his sense of humor is that, you know how like most people and Brian's really showing it right now, isn't he? But when most people they'll drop a couple sarcastic barbs on the first day and you laugh, and then by day 8 or 9 it gets old. It never gets old with he and his wife.
I know.
And
I've had that experience.
And they go at each other. I mean, it's pretty fun. We had a really wonderful conversation about Karen trying to kill Brian the entire trip, and it just never became unfunny.
I'm just letting the laughter die down.
Yeah. There was also actually one really unbelievable moment where, like, the whole time we're in Cinque Terre, we're talking about how Karen's going to throw Brian off into the Mediterranean Sea. And so Brian and I decide to kind of leave the group, and we're like walking ahead of anybody. And Brian is like looking up for where the rest of the group is and almost fell over into the Mediterranean Sea. And I was thinking to myself, like, I would have been blamed. Like, the first thing I looked for was, like, cameras to make sure that if this had happened, that I would have been scot-free. But there's a chance that I'd be in an Italian jail right now. So.
Is over-caffeination, can you get off for major crimes in Italy?
Yeah. I would have been like the Amanda Knox of
exactly.
the Michael Kennedy Defined Destinations crew.
That's a pretty good get right there.
Yeah.
Amanda Knox. I would not have come up with that one. You called yourself Amanda Knox. We need to save that, Brandon. That's pretty good stuff. Yeah. Let's tell you about our last but not least sponsor, Tony Hoaglund, your State Farm agent in Champlin, Hoaglund. He handles my insurance for me. He handles Michael's insurance for him. And he's going to be at an upcoming show holding his fantasy hockey draft. So he is one of us. He will be out here. And I want to bring up something kind of related to something you just said after we tell you about Tony Hoaglund.
Hey, Minnesota sports fans. This is your local State Farm agent, Tony Hoaglund. I need you all to ask yourselves this question. If you're in an at-fault car accident and you are sued for $700,000, how much of that $700,000 will my current insurance company pay? If you are unsure or can't answer all $700,000, you need to give us a call. State Farm has been number one in car insurance since World War II and number one in homeowners insurance since 1964. For a no-obligation review of your current policies, call us at 763-421-4900 or check out our website at www.champlininsurance.com.
So back to the Beauty League.
That was subtle.
And this setting and all the people who come out to see the live shows and everything else. I will say, having been all over the country, covered different sports, this is unique, and like every NFL city, the fan base thinks it's the biggest deal in the world, and Viking fans are very passionate. I don't know how many places you have the level of passion, the number of people who are that impassioned about the local sport, and who also are incredibly knowledgeable.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of football fans who love football and really don't know much about the game. They just like the spectacle. Hockey fans in Minnesota know everything.
Well, that's why I was so intimidated coming here, is that not only are I from here, but 13 years ago, I'm like, how am I going to be accepted as kind of a Floridian/New Yorker coming to Minnesota to cover hockey? And I'm sure, look, my expertise in hockey is just being around it, covering 2,000 NHL games, but I never played competitively like Andy over there. And so, it's like one of those things where it is the unique part of being here. And as I wrote in that first story last year for The Athletic, it's an absolute privilege being a hockey writer here. But I do think that that's just something about this area, is that everybody's played the game, watched the game, loves the game. And as long as you have passion about the game, I think that fans will accept you here. And so, where maybe I can't play it the way that other people can, I can absolutely have a passion for it. And I think that's what a lot of fans, really liked about the writing.
From Barbara Tabin, are you behaving? She wants to know if you're behaving.
Yes, I'm behaving.
Okay, that's Russo's mom, for anybody who doesn't know. By the way, how's Oliver?
Oliver's doing well.
Good.
Yep. He doesn't like to go outside anymore.
I can't blame him.
And see other dogs. But if you don't know, my mom's dog got attacked by another dog, a really ferocious Yorkie.
Did you just say ferocious Yorkie?
I got so long without pissing off my mother in this podcast. I just
ferocious Yorkie.
I'm not kidding you when she... Brandon, I think you're going to have to edit.
No. Do not edit this. Do not edit a second of this. Move this up to the front. This will be the lead.
I'm not kidding you. When she told me it was a Yorkie, I had to Google the picture to make sure it's what I thought it was.
I know people who've had Yorkies, and they're about the size of my hand, and they're pretty fluffy. You want to try to save yourself at all at this point?
No, I'm just thinking about the just envisioning. It's not funny.
It's not funny.
I mean, my mother.
It's absolutely not funny, everybody.
My mother looked like she had carried like a gunshot victim into the hospital, but the Yorkie was apparently. It was apparently like in a stroller when this happened. Oh man, am I alive?
You're dead.
So to answer my mother's question, no, I'm not behaving.
No, you're not. It's over.
Oh man.
Oh man. There are times I will edit stuff out to save your job, but I ain't not. You're just gonna have to ride with this.
Yeah, she is going
dead
to
man.
absolutely kill me.
Oh, good Lord.
She got pissed with me yesterday because I wrote somebody back on Twitter that was extending their membership at The Athletic. He basically asked me a question, and I said, well, my mother figured it out. It should be pretty easy, and she got really offended at that one. So, but that one was a joke. Oh, man, we're going to have to not publish this podcast.
Oh, we're publishing. My band's always looking for a new name.
Yeah.
Ferocious Yorkie.
Yeah. Oh, my God. What a great
perfect.
name. Like Trampled by Turtles,
Exactly.
Ferocious Yorkie.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to try to save your life by changing the subject.
Thanks.
From Davis Bailey, seems you think Greenway's a lock for the team, barring a poor camp. Does that mean Cunnin, if healthy, is a lock for Iowa and a call-up as injuries dictate? How do you see him developing?
Yeah, I mean, I'm a little surprised that Greenway, that at least Fenton and Boudreaux keep on talking to him like he's a lock to make the team. And obviously, a lot of it's going to have to depend on how Greenway performs in training camp. But they keep on talking to him talking up like he's on it. And I still always believe that somebody should get at least 1 minute of minor league hockey before becoming an NHLer, unless you're a guaranteed sure thing prospect, which I don't think Greenway has proven yet. But Greenway, Boudreaux loved his game down the stretch. Thought he got better as the game went on. Thought in the playoffs he was one of their, if not the best forward. And so they're talking about like he's on. So to answer Davis's other part of the question, it was Davis, right? I think so.
We'll find that.
But anyway,
scrolled away.
Whoever asked that. But Cunnin, I just think that because he's coming off a torn ACL, like he's going to have to really come into camp and prove himself. But Dan Myers was in Madison today with Suter, and on the ice in Madison at the University of Wisconsin's arena, there was Cunnin. And so he's way ahead of schedule. I mean, this is a guy that, remember, he didn't have his torn ACL surgery until like a month, more than 5 weeks after he originally tore his ACL at the beginning of March. So we're talking not long ago, but that's one reason why the doctors held off doing the surgery, is that they really feel with torn ACL surgeries now, if you can give the knee a chance to strengthen back up, it'll accelerate your process in terms of your recovery time. So Cunnin is going to come in ready to make the team, and I put nothing past that kid. Also, I mean, there's a reason why this guy was the national team's captain for as long as he was.
That question was from Davis. Alec, you got one for us? Nice shirt, by the way. Thanks for representing.
At their point of their careers, would you rather prefer Hendricks over Reed, or would you?
I mean, that's a good question. I got to see Reed in camp, but you're right. I mean, Hendricks is somebody that he makes the league in. So if Reed comes in and blows him out, I mean, you make a good point. Hendricks very well could slide through waivers and wind up in Iowa. I don't think he'd love it, but such is life. He put himself in this position to sign this type of contract. So if Reed comes in and shows that he can play and that can score, and he's not going to be the 13th forward. I mean, for Reed to make the team, to me, he's got to be somebody that is going to be in your top 12. Although if he has a great training camp, he's somebody that could, at a cheap contract, be taken right off waivers as well. So we'll see. We're talking like Hendricks because he's the veteran, and Boudreaux wants him badly. But if Reed comes into camp and there's no injuries and they got to make a roster decision, absolutely they'd keep Reed if there's a chance they could lose him.
Good question. Thanks, Alec.
Great question, actually.
Yes, thank you.
Just blew my mind. It's something I didn't even think about.
Hey, kind of different direction here. I know you're a big Trampled by Turtles fan.
Yeah.
And my girlfriend and I are going to go see them at the State Fair.
Nice. I'll be there.
I've never actually heard any of their music before, so I was wondering if you had a suggestion on what album I should listen to first.
I would actually just go to on Spotify, just listen to Trampled by Turtles on shuffle and just listen to it, and you'll love it. But I mean, songs wise, Victory and Winners that are on our podcast to start and finish. I was listening to Walt Whitman today. I just listened to his cover by the Tom Petty cover Wildflowers, which you would absolutely love, Jim.
I do.
Along with Midnight on the Interstate. I mean, those are kind of the hits.